The Septuagint, the forbidden Bible that refused to die. Welcome, truth seekers, to Beyond the Veil. I'm Radzi, your guide into the shadows of history, where the sacred meets the forbidden. Today, we're diving into a mystery so explosive it could rewrite everything you thought you knew about the Bible. Picture this: a book so powerful, so dangerous, that empires trembled, scholars conspired, and entire centuries tried to bury it. It's not a grimoire of dark magic or a lost gospel of wild heresy, though, trust me, it's got more twists than a cosmic conspiracy. No, this is the Septuagint, the ancient Greek translation of the Old Testament that Jesus himself quoted, the apostles wielded, and the early church swore by. Yet somehow, it's the Bible you've probably never read. Why? Because someone or something didn't want you to. Buckle up, because in this episode, we're peeling back layers of history, prophecy, and power to uncover why the Septuagint is the forbidden Bible that refused to die. This isn't just a story, it's a revelation. And trust me, by the end, you'll be questioning everything you've been told about the scriptures. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and smack that bell icon. We're a growing tribe here at Beyond the Veil, unearthing hidden truths one video at a time, and I don't want you missing a single drop of this esoteric gold. Also, drop a comment of where you're tuning from. I'm dying to know where our fellow seekers are tuning in. Right, let's crack open this ancient enigma. The dangerous birth of the Septuagint. Let's start at the beginning. Well, sort of. It's 250 BC, and the world's a Greek party. Alexander the Great's empire has turned the Mediterranean into a Hellenistic hotspot. And Hebrew? It's basically the Aramaic equivalent of vinyl records. Cool, but nobody's playing it anymore. Enter the Jewish community in Alexandria, Egypt, a buzzing hub of intellect and intrigue. They've got a problem. Their sacred texts are in Hebrew, but their kids are chatting in Greek over falafel. So, legend has it, King Ptolemy II, yes, the guy with the famous library, says, "I want those Jewish scrolls in Greek. Make it happen." 70 scholars, some say 72, because ancient math is fuzzy, get locked in rooms, and boom, the Septuagint is born. Septuagint means 70 in Latin, hence the name. Sounds like a cool origin story, right? But here's where it gets spicy. This wasn't just a translation for convenience. It was a power move. The Septuagint took the Hebrew scriptures and flung them into the global spotlight, readable by anyone who spoke Greek, which was basically everyone worth knowing back then. Jews loved it. Synagogues adopted it. And then, a few centuries later, a certain son of a carpenter from Nazareth started quoting it. Yep, Jesus and his crew didn't mess around with dusty Hebrew scrolls. They used the Septuagint like it was their holy mixtape. So why is it dangerous? Because this book didn't just translate words, it carried prophecies so crystal clear about the Messiah that when Christianity exploded, it became the early church's secret weapon. Imagine a text that says, "Oh, by the way, this Jesus guy, he's been in the script for centuries." That's the Septuagint. But here's the kicker. Not everyone was happy about that. Some Jewish leaders started side-eyeing it, muttering, "Wait, this Greek stuff's getting too Christian-y." And that's when the trouble began. Stick with me, because this is where the plot thickens. And trust me, it's thicker than a pharaoh's tomb wall. The prophecy problem. Let's talk prophecies, those cryptic little breadcrumbs God left in the Old Testament to point to the Messiah. The Septuagint's got them in spades, and they're razor sharp. Take Isaiah 7:14 for instance. In the Septuagint it says, "Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son." Sound familiar? It's the virgin birth of Jesus, straight out of the Christmas playbook. But fast forward to the Masoretic Text, the Hebrew version most modern Bibles use, and it's watered down to, "Behold, a young woman shall conceive." Young woman? Could be anyone. That's not a prophecy. That's a Tuesday in ancient Judea. Or how about Psalm 22:16? The Septuagint nails it. "They pierced my hands and my feet." 1,000 years before crucifixion was a thing, it's predicting Jesus on the cross. Chills, right? But the Masoretic Text, "Like a lion are my hands and my feet." What does that even mean? Did a lion nibble on David's toes? It's nonsense, or worse, it's a dodge. These aren't accidents. By the 2nd century AD, Christianity's taking off like a rocket, and Jewish scholars are sweating. The Septuagint's being used to prove Jesus is the Messiah, and they're not thrilled. So, they pivot to the Masoretic Text, finalized centuries later, around 1000 AD, give or take. It's in Hebrew, it's pure, and conveniently, it blurs those messianic neon signs. Coincidence? I think not. And here's the real mindbender. The Dead Sea Scrolls, dug up in the 20th century, back up the Septuagint more often than the Masoretic Text. These scrolls, some from 200 BC, are closer to the originals than anything we've got. So why aren't we using the Septuagint? Why is the church clinging to a text that might have been edited to downplay Jesus? Hold that thought. We're about to go deeper. The timeline conspiracy. Now let's talk time, because the Septuagint doesn't just mess with prophecies, it messes with history itself. Ever wonder how old the world is according to the Bible? The Masoretic Text says the Great Flood happened around 2348 BC. Cool, except the pyramids in Egypt were built around 2600 BC. So Noah's busy building an ark while the pharaohs are sipping wine by their shiny new triangles. That's a plot hole bigger than the Red Sea parting. But the Septuagint, it pushes the flood back to around 3000 BC, way before Egypt's pyramid party. Suddenly the timeline makes sense, and it's not just the flood. The Septuagint adds over 650 years to the genealogies of the patriarchs, like Methuselah and his crew, compared to the Masoretic Text. Why shrink it? One theory, and strap in for this one, is that Jewish scribes tweaked the numbers to disconnect Melchizedek, the mysterious priest-king, from Jesus. In the New Testament, Melchizedek's a big deal, a foreshadowing of Christ's eternal priesthood. But if you fudge the dates, you can argue he's just Shem, Noah's son, and not some divine hint. This isn't a typo, it's a rewrite. The Septuagint's timeline aligns with ancient records and early Christian beliefs, while the Masoretic Text scrambles it. So, what's the truth? Did someone shorten history to muddy the waters? And if they did, who gave them the scissors? Esoteric humor, folks, keeps the soul light while the mind digs deep. The Empire Strikes Back. So, the Septuagint's rocking the ancient world. Jews, Christians, even curious Greeks are hooked. Then Rome enters the chat. Picture this. It's the 1st century AD. Christianity's spreading like wildfire, and the Septuagint's the kindling. The apostles are quoting it left, right, and center. Paul's practically got it memorized. It's proving Jesus is the Messiah, and Rome's not happy. The empire's built on Caesar being God King, and here come these pesky Christians with a Greek Old Testament saying, "Nope, there's a bigger king upstairs." Persecution kicks in. Christians are thrown to lions, scrolls are torched. The Septuagint's a target because it's ammunition. But here's the twist. The more Rome tries to crush it, the stronger it gets. Then Constantine flips the script in the 4th century. Christianity's legal, but he wants unity. Problem is, the Septuagint's too Greek, too tied to the early church's rebel roots. So, the Latin Vulgate takes over, based on Hebrew texts drifting toward what will become the Masoretic. By the 10th century, the Masoretic Text is king, and the Septuagint. It's sidelined, except in the East, where the Orthodox Church keeps it alive like a sacred time capsule. Was this just progress or a power grab? Did Rome and later scholars bury the Septuagint to control the narrative? You tell me. The survival and the question. Here's the miracle. The Septuagint should have vanished. Jewish leaders ditched it. Rome burned it. The Western Church swapped it out. But it survived. The Eastern Orthodox clung to it. And then, bam, the Dead Sea Scrolls drop in the 20th century, proving it's closer to the originals than the Masoretic Text. This forbidden Bible refused to die. So what's the takeaway? If Jesus and the apostles used it, if it's got prophecies and timelines we've lost, shouldn't we be reading it? Are we missing half the story with our modern Bibles? This isn't just history. It's a call to wake up. The Septuagint's a relic of truth in a world that tried to rewrite it. Here's my reflective question for you. If the Bible you hold was shaped by centuries of edits, what's the real word of God? Think about that. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Before we wrap, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Share this with someone who needs a mind-blowing wake-up call. Stick around. Next time, we're unearthing more secrets beyond the veil. Now, let's close with a reflection and an affirmation. Take a breath with me. We've journeyed through time, empires, and sacred words. The Septuagint's survival isn't just a fluke, it's a whisper from the divine, saying, seek the truth, and it'll find you. Whatever your faith, this is a reminder. Question, dig, and don't settle for shadows when the light's still burning. Here's your closing affirmation. Say it with me 3 times to seal this knowledge in your spirit. I seek the hidden truth with an open heart. I seek the hidden truth with an open heart. I seek the hidden truth with an open heart. Thanks for joining me, seekers. Until next time, keep lifting the veil